Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout 76 news video, and we have a huge one today, as expeditions are finally about to arrive on the public test server in the next couple of days. So, got a big drop of information here, so let's jump in and take a look at all of this. Okay, yeah, so expeditions, obviously this is the biggest update of the year, and it won't be arriving till September, but it is arriving on the PTS very, very soon, so massive drop of unexpected Friday night news here. So let's jump in and take a look at this. We've got a big blog post on the subject. So there we go, shiny new view of the pit, which is looking very, very cool. It's looking very 76. Actually reminds me slightly of a couple of locations in the main game, but I think I'm cool with that so far. We'll have a look at some pictures in a bit more detail in a minute. So, inside the vault, launch your own expedition in the public test server. Yes, been looking forward to this. Some really cool little surprises in here and some really, really cool stuff that we already knew about that's elaborated on as well, so it's really cool. In the coming days, we are planning to reopen the public test server, PTS, so that you can catch some early hands-on time with expeditions. This is a major new feature for Fallout 76 that will take you beyond the reaches of Appalachia for the very first time, with repeatable missions that are tuned for our higher level players. The entire team has been hard at work implementing expeditions, and we can't wait to hear what you think after you've had the chance to give it a try in the PTS, read on for an overview of the system, and learn more about your first mission. So yeah, a couple of opening comments that aren't massively surprising. Obviously, yeah, we are getting outside of Appalachia. We knew there was a repeatable nature to this, so that's in keeping with what we've heard already. So, take refuge at the White Spring. This is where we kick things off. The responders, who brought much needed aid to the residents of Appalachia and who fought back against the Scorched Plague, have been gone for years. However, the spirit of their endeavours still lives on through the people who have returned to the region and taken up their noble cause. Yeah, there's a few people who are quite fans of the responders pottering around in-game at the moment. Just one or two, really, but still. Given their growing ranks, the responders have reformed. I know a lot of people wanted to hear that one happening, so that's really, really cool. We're essentially getting a new mini-faction, or a returning mini-faction. A bunch of new people who are basically joining together with the same goals in mind as the responders had back in the day before we all emerged from Vault 76. So, they have reformed and recently taken up residence at the White Spring Resort. There, they have set up the White Spring Refuge as a hub for their operations and the home base for the intact vertibird they secured during their endeavours in the wasteland. Got themselves a vertibird there. When you head to the refuge, you will meet many of the hard-working folks who make up the new responders and learn about their ambitions to explore and provide aid to settlements outside of Appalachia using the vertibird. So that basically sets up the premise that we were more or less aware of. Hop on a vertibird, head out to, first off, the pit, and help some groups that are out there. And we'll be going elsewhere as well, assuming this isn't a total flop. Which I think it's going to be pretty good, so fuel up and take flight. This is the first thing we know about, and we've sort of talked about this from data mines and from little snippets of information in interviews and stuff we've already had, but your vertibird's going to need fueling up before you can head off to the pit. So, that vertibird isn't going to fly itself, and it won't be going anywhere at all on a dead battery. To get that bird off the ground, you're going to need to charge up its ultrasight battery cell. Each day when you visit the White Spring Refuge, you'll be given 3 Refuge daily quests. Each Refuge daily quest you complete will award you with a percentage of ultrasight battery charge. Finish all 3 and you will learn enough to power the vertibird and lead your very own expedition. So several key points here that are quite cool. We know we're going to have to charge this up. Looks like 3 dailies that you have to do, and you will be able to then launch your expedition. So we're getting 33.33 so on percent each time we do it. Other cool thing is, from the sound of things, and we'll see a bit more on that subject in a moment, it looks like those 3 daily quests will pop up every day. So you'll be able to do 3 dailies a day as opposed to 1 daily a day, with the goal that you can launch an expedition every single day if you want to. You have to go through the daily quest first, and then you can head off. So, welcome to the pit. Let's see what happens when we actually get to Pittsburgh. Looking nice. That is a pretty cool first picture. Obviously, we're seeing mostly stuff that we've already seen before. There's a new street light there that I think, from what I've read in previous interviews, is sort of modelled on the stuff we actually find in real world in Pittsburgh. And there's a few other bits and pieces around that you can't really see here, but those are also in as well, which is cool. as well as, of course, seeing a whole lot of stuff that's basically already been there or repurposed and stuff like that. And, of course, there's new assets like the sign across the top there, but looks very, very cool. It's a few things that we're starting to see appear through seasons and stuff like this. Brickwork looks familiar. So, definitely cool to see some stuff in there, but there's some stuff at the background as well you can sort of see there that reminds me of a couple of locations that are in Appalachia. But it's the same game, it's the same engine, it's the same basic premise. We're not really expecting them to basically make it look like a whole new game. That would be very strange. And we'd probably be waiting another 2 years for that to happen. So, not going to complain about that. We've got a really cool looking internal area here. This looks like some kind of train yard. It looks like train tracks, some kind of train tunnel anyway. Definitely a tunnel vibe, judging by the curve there. We've got a couple of abandoned train cars there. A few interesting bits and pieces. Some different style of chain link. Always down for that. Bethesda. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And possibly maybe even these train cars will end up in the camp building system at some point. Who knows? That would be awesome. Starting or joining an expedition will kick off a new mission for you and up to 3 teammates. Standard team size then. That's about what we'd expect. Our first mission, Union Jews, will take you to the depths of the Pit, a city we've been eager to revisit since it first appeared in Fallout 3. Now, from the tone of this, for you and up to 3 teammates, sounds like if you want to solo it, it should be perfectly viable to do that. Obviously, once this lands on the PTS, I will be diving in as soon as possible and covering it and giving you my first impressions and a first look and so on and so forth. So you actually get to see what it looks like in the coming days once the PTS actually goes live. So if that's something you want to check out, then, you know, subs and notification bell and all that good stuff, and then you don't miss it. Obviously, unreleased content spoilers when that comes around, so bear that in mind, but definitely going to be all over this. Without spoiling too much, the Pit is currently fraught with a power struggle between the Union, an industrious and diverse band of survivors working to rebuild the city, and the Fanatics, a gang of raiders looking to expand their territory. Your goal is to provide support to one of the local Union chapters and to drive the Fanatics out of the Foundry, which the Union have been using as their operating base. Okay, so we know from this that we've got an opposing faction of raiders. The Union is a group of presumably construction workers, steel workers and the like, who we're going to be siding with. And there are going to be a number of different missions within the Pit, and subsequently on down the line when they do other locations as well, those will work in a similar way. For the moment, they're starting off with just 1. They'll be adding 2 by the time it launches, and presumably more on down the line from there. So it sounds like that anyway. But it'll start off with a couple of different things. There's going to be some variations in it each time you run it, but there'll be a couple of sort of core missions to do. So there's some people out there kind of saying, oh, it sounds like Daily Ops. It's a bit different to Daily Ops. It's a bit similar. It's more approachable than Daily Ops. From the sound of things, the challenge won't be as high. I'll report back on that. And also, there's a bit more variation. With Daily Ops, obviously, the only thing that varies is really the mutations. The basic setup is always the same at whatever location you go to for an uplink or a decryption. You know, the targets you've got to hit, the uplinks or anything like that, are obviously always in the same place. They'll move around a bit in this, is what they're saying. So, yeah, sort of specific locations, things that you have to hit, interact with, whatever that might be, we'll find out in a few days, won't always be in the same place. So it'll keep it a bit fresher for a bit longer until I can get additional content out, obviously, which does, of course, take time. Each mission that you embark on, like Union Jews, which is the first one we're getting, will feature 3 randomized objectives for you to conquer. There we go. While you will encounter the same overarching theme from one playthrough to another for a given mission, these randomized objectives will help keep the experience fresh each time you step off the vertibird. In addition, every mission will sport several optional objectives. The more of those you manage to complete, the better your rewards become. So, fair enough. So it's a bit more complex and more involved than a daily op is, for sure. Plus, of course, that's when you even get to the pit. Obviously, you've got the dailies to do beforehand, so it's a much bigger thing than ops are. And, yeah. As to just how much exploration we're going to get, doesn't really talk about this here. We're going to see different locations. Will there be lore in there? Who knows? It sounds like there's going to be people to meet if we're helping a faction like the Union. As to exactly how that's going to be done, I don't know. There's no mention of a time limit here. And I get the impression this is not intended to be done on a time limit from previous interviews that have happened. So if you want to just go and explore, I don't think there's anything to stop you doing that. Based on, as I say, what I've heard in previous interviews, stuff like that, and from data mines and things, it doesn't look like there's anything to stop you saying, okay, that's my objective, but I'm going to go this way for a while first, and then I'll come back and deal with that in a bit. That seems like it'll probably be a completely viable option. More details, obviously, as soon as I actually get my hands on the thing, but I think that's going to be the case. So, claiming your rewards. This is going to get interesting. Speaking of, you will receive some XP, loot, and a legendary item every time you finish a mission. If you completed all your optional objectives, you will receive one of the many new pit-themed rare item plans once per week. Which, interesting. Which can include weapon and power armor mods. Okay, so I'm guessing those are new ones. Outfits, objects for your camp, and more. So you can receive one of those items once per week. Okay, if you complete all of your optional objectives. We'll have to actually see what the ins and outs of that are. It sounds like that might include completing multiple expeditions. I don't know. We'll need a bit more detail on that. However, there are more opportunities to get access to those rewards, or so it would seem, in a moment anyway. Some new items that are being introduced with this update, like the Auto-Axe melee weapon and Union power armor, are not part of the expedition's reward pool. You'll need to unlock them through other means, and we'll have more information to share on that as we get closer to the patch release. Now, it sounds like those specific things are going to be season rewards, but we'll wait and see. They might have something else in mind. They could have just said that. The fact they didn't is not something I would read into either way. It could still mean that. It could mean that they're not saying it because they've got something else to tell us later. It literally could go either way on that one. We'll have to wait and see. However, at the end of each successful mission, you'll also be rewarded with a few stamps. This is a new currency you can collect to bring to Giuseppe at the White Spring Refuge to buy the exact rewards you want from the pool of rare item plans offered by expeditions. So that sounds like the same plans mentioned up above. So obviously not the weapon or the power armor, but the camp armor mods, objects for your camp, outfits, and whatever else he happens to have. You can then spend these stamps that you'll get from completing expeditions to buy the specific item you want, rather than just waiting for it as a weekly random drop. So you don't just have to wait for that weekly random drop, it's kind of on top of your ability to go and buy what you want as well. So that kind of works as well, because it means you can spend the stamps on the stuff you really want and get it quicker, and sort of fill up on the stuff you're less bothered about, hopefully, through the RNG anyway. Definitely not a bad idea, that I don't think. I think that's alright. Again, we'll see when we actually get our hands on it just exactly how that pans out, but it looks promising so far. Be sure to take on these optional objectives during your missions, because each one you complete will net you with even more stamps as part of your end mission rewards. So completing the optional objectives moves you on towards getting one as a random weekly drop. It also gets you even more stamps so that you can buy the thing you want specifically when you want to get it, assuming you've got enough of this new currency. Expedition team leaders will earn increased rewards, including some extra stamps, as a result of the effort needed to collect and turn in ultrasight battery cells. So when expeditions reach the live game, you will be able to lead one expedition today, but keep in mind that you can join as many expeditions led by others as you would like. So yeah, basically, the leader will power the Vertibird's battery, the others can come along with, and it won't affect the amount of charge that they've acquired. So if there's a group of 4 of you, all go out and do your dailies, and then you'll be able to run 4 expeditions, taking it in turns to be the leader in a day, and you'll each get 1 bite at being the leader that way. Obviously, it sounds here like you'll be able to join probably a public team. We'll have to see when that goes live, but it's not mentioned here. And join other people's expeditions, so you can take part in them as many times as you want a day. You're just limited to being the leader once a day, which is fair enough. I'm guessing this is going to be a fairly time-consuming thing by the time we've done 3 dailies and the expedition. Not massive, but, you know, a decent chunk of time, so for a lot of players, they probably won't want to run more than 1 a day anyway, you know, life, the universe, and everything getting in the way. So I don't think that's really such a bad thing. I know for those who are into grinding it like crazy, maybe that'd be a bit more frustrating, but using the public teams, teaming up with friends, that sort of thing, will kind of reverse that. And of course, we've got a whole bundle of other new stuff coming throughout the year, so I suspect there'll be plenty to keep you busy anyway. So for playtesting purposes, players in the PTS will be able to collect enough ultrasight battery cells to lead multiple expeditions per day. So I'm not quite sure how that's exactly going to be implemented, but while we're on the PTS, we'll be able to run more expeditions than the amount you will be able to on live, just so you can test it a bit better. So last bit, Join us in the test server. This is the big question for the immediate moment. When the PTS begins, Union Dues will initially be the only mission available for playtesting. This will help us focus on community feedback for the expedition system as a whole, as well as our first mission. Makes sense. Focus testing is not such a bad thing. As the testing phase continues, bear in mind this is coming out in September, so it's a long testing phase. As this testing phase continues, we're planning to bring our second mission online so that you can try them both out and share your thoughts with us well ahead of the expedition's launch later this year. So it's scheduled for the autumn, which likely means September. So yeah, basically they'll test 2 missions. There'll be 2 missions on launch, each with a certain amount of variation. You'll get a randomized one, presumably, each time you do an expedition. I wouldn't be surprised if they take a leaf out the Daily Ops book in that whatever happened in the last one can't crop up in the next one. So, you know, if you've got Union Dues and you've done that one, your next one will likely drop the other mission. I don't know, but it's possible. It's also possible that they'll flip on a daily basis, like Daily Ops do. There's a couple of ways they could handle that. But I'd imagine they'll do something along those lines, because if you just get the same mission over and over and over and over, that wouldn't be ideal. So, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. And if they don't, it's something to drop on as a suggestion on the PTS anyway. So, how can you get your hands on it then? That's the million-dollar question. If you own a PC copy of Fallout 76 through Steam, we would love to team up with you to embark on expeditions together on the public test server. If you own Fallout 76 through the Bethesda launcher, please keep in mind that we've now fully transitioned the PTS over to Steam. Make sure to migrate your Bethesda launcher account to Steam if you'd still like to participate in the test server. As you take part in playtesting, we hope you'll join us on the official Bethesda Studios Discord server to let us know what you think, report bugs so that we can make adjustments and fine-tune Expedition's experience. Until next time, we'll see you in Appalachia. So, link to this post down below if you want to read it for yourselves, and find those links as well if you want to join Bethesda's Discord. There's loads of stuff on there beyond just PTS bug reporting, by the way, so if you're a regular Discord user, you might want to think about it. Good way to keep up with what's going on. So yeah, there's some really cool stuff in here. Pictures are quite cool. Not massively new stuff. Most of this is in line with what we knew already. Confirmation on the fact that there's a limit to the number of expeditions you can do per day and how they work. We kind of already knew that a lot of this stuff, generally speaking, but the specifics are a bit more nailed down there. Like I say, there's nothing mentioned about timers here, and from what I gather in previous interviews, I don't think it is timed, so if you want to go and explore, I don't think there'll be anything stopping you doing that. We will obviously see once I actually get my hands on it. My guess for when that's going to be is probably Tuesday, Wednesday next week. The reason I think that is the current Bethesda launcher shift to Steam thing that's going on at the moment. The target window they want everybody transferring in ends on Tuesday, that's the 11th of May. So if you haven't transferred from Bethesda launcher to Steam by then, you won't be able to play it again until you do so. So it won't penalise you in any way. You won't get an added bonus for doing it in the window, but you'll still be able to do the transfer. But it would make sense to me to get that transfer complete, close down the Bethesda launcher side of it, and then they just focus on the Steam side when they bring the PTS back up. So you'll have to do that through Steam, and obviously if you're making that transfer, you need to uninstall your Bethesda Net stuff and reinstall via Steam. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this. The fact that you can get a weekly rare reward if you're doing the objectives, need a bit more information on how that's actually going to work. But the fact you get the weekly drop and then you just pick up the currency and go and buy it, a bit like with the bullion system, it kind of doubles up the RNG versus the go buy it approach, which I think that's quite a good way of doing it. It means you're not wholly reliant on RNG like you are in other areas, but you kind of have to work your way through things. I'm guessing it'll take a while to earn enough stamps to actually achieve this, but we'll have a look. We'll see what's going on, and we'll take a look at Giuseppe's reward list and so on and so forth when I get my hands on it, probably next week. So I guess it's going to be a busy one, making up for a quiet one this week, which is very cool. So yeah, I think I'm down with this. I'm pretty cool with it. It's hitting basically what I was expecting it to be so far, or at least it looks like it will from this. We'll actually see when I get in there. So, I hope you guys found this useful and informative. If you did, please do drop those likes, subs, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. I very, very much appreciate it. Let me know what you think, what your impressions are so far, and yeah, keep an eye out for that next video. Down below the video as well, along with the link to this post if you want to check it out for yourself, you'll find my social media links, the merch store, and channel memberships as well if you're interested in supporting the channel in that way. I very, very much appreciate it on the buttons down below the video. And if you get a chance to join us for live streams as well, do apologise for having to cancel tonight, but this news dropped quite late, so kind of had to jump on that one. But we will be back on the schedule as of next week, so I do hope you'll join us for those. It's good fun. We've got some cool Fallout stuff coming up, and we're continuing with Mass Effect 3 as well, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. So, on that joyous note, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.